Welcome back to another edition of Hometown Roster. I'm your host, Paul Snyder, and today we're talking with the Athletic Director of MVU, John Lumsden. I'm here with John Lumsden, the Athletic Director for Missisquoi Valley Union. John, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so we want to get to know just a little bit more about you, just, Athletic Director, because we see the coaches, we see the players, we know them, but we really don't know who's kind of running the scene behind it. So that's where I want to talk with you a little more.
Yep.
So just give me a little background just about your job here at MVU.
Well, my name is John Lumsden. I am the Athletic Director here at MVU. This is my first year. Previously, I was a physical education teacher at Highgate Elementary School for the past 25 years. I live here in Highgate with my wife Robin, and I have two sons that actually graduated through Highgate and through Missisquoi. So that's the personal connection that I have here. So this is my first year. It's been a rewarding year. It's been a lot of work. People think that this job is maybe 8 to 3 or 8 hours a day, but it's a lot longer than that. But I really enjoy what I'm doing, and it's a new beginning in my professional life.
Well, it's great that you have that personal connection to MVU with your kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, my kids, I actually have coached here at middle school and also on the JV boys basketball team.
Okay, great.
So having, seeing, I'm very familiar with the area and with the sports program here at Missisquoi.
So you get that Thunderbird pride just throughout the whole family.
Yes, yep. I got a whole wardrobe of blue and white in my son's closets as well.
So let's get a little bit into your background. So where did you go to school?
So I graduated from McCabot High School in '85, went to Linden State College to become a physical education major, and then I actually received a job at Highgate Elementary School in 1989. Graduated right out of college, yeah. Great. Graduated from Linden, and then...
Linden alum, that's right. 09.
89.
There you go.
It probably is going to date me, but... And then in 2008, I received my Master's of Education through Southern New Hampshire University.
Great, okay. So what, did you play sports in college?
No, didn't play sports in college, but when, we had a family here, obviously very involved with the youth program when my kids were growing up, did Highgate Little League, did, youth soccer. We did lots of basketball, and some of my great memories of of coaching, with having my kids on my team was great. So. Okay,
so you were more like a behind-the-scenes type of fan when it came to the sports. Like I'm sure maybe you played every now and then, not recreationally.
Recreationally, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Do you have a favorite sport?
Basketball is probably my favorite sport. It's something that my sons and I and our whole family, as well as other families in our community here at Missisquoi, back in 5th grade, where we did mini metro, and then we did some EAU tournaments, and we played lots of games, and it paid off back in 2011 when they won the state championship. So it really worked out well for us and the group of people that we had. There were wonderful parents. Couldn't have done it without them. We had some great kids. They followed up through, and they won a Division II title back in 2011. So pretty happy with that.
So you've only been the athletic director here, though, for about a year.
Yeah.
What have you loved about it in the last year, and what do you look forward to in the coming years?
Well, I look forward to being with athletes. I enjoy, talking to them, what their perspective is on, about their teams and about areas that maybe I can help them out in becoming a better teammate or becoming a better team. I like the interactions with coaches. There's like 40 coaches on staff here, so it's important that, I am in touch with them. They'll let them know that I support them and what they're doing, and if there's anything I can do to help them, I would. And also, the improvements that I want to have are, this past spring we were working on the baseball field and making improvements on the field itself. This next summer we're going to start putting some glass backboards up in our gym. And so we're doing some little projects like that and trying to, I would like to see and build our youth programs at the lower level, but also trying to get more high school students to participate in high school athletics.
Okay. Now the football team is fairly new. This year was
this year was their first year.
Did you have a big hand in bringing that to
I didn't really have a big fan. No, I wasn't. No, I didn't have a big hand in bringing them in. It was already here. But that would be with Coach Steve Sheeler and his coaching staff to really bring that to the forefront and make that happen. I was really behind the scenes. So
sure. When I was in high school, though, like the football team, like that was like the biggest thing of like. Do you think bringing in another team, whether or not it's football or another sport, do Do you think that definitely boosts the morale for high school?
I think it's going to boost morale. We have done our fall sign-ups already, and there are over 40 kids that have signed up. So I think the numbers are great, and that's going to help support the program in years to come. Kids are successful at what they're doing. Kids are having a great time. The coaching staff is just wonderful. So you can't ask for a better program than what the football program's trying to do here at Missisquoi.
Okay, speaking of like spirit and morale, I had seen that there was during a school board meeting, someone had stepped up and said that your involvement in getting the team some better jerseys and new jerseys really seemed to boost that morale for the teams. Could you just talk a little bit more about your involvement?
Well, this past summer when I was doing work, I looked at some jerseys that our middle school team, actually our varsity cross-country team, and I just pulling them out and looking at them, and they were not the shade of blue that I wanted. And I just being able to find money and just say this is not acceptable here at Missisquoi. We need to find something better for our athletes. And we found money. Was able to get them some new uniforms, and I really want them to know that when they wear the blue and white and that says Missisquoi across the front, it's something to be proud of.
As an athletic director, I know that you have your hands really in a lot of different areas. Is there anything that you would want to see improved with any of the sports that you have? Just whether it's on a safety issue or and just making the game better for the players and the coaches?
Well, one thing that we added, an element we added to our coaching staff this past season was having an athletic trainer. Okay. And I think safety is #1 priority. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether it's pros or whether it's middle school or high school, that the safety of our athletes come first, and hiring someone and having her come in and get to know the athletes and have preventive care for them, and also treating our athletes throughout the year was important to us. Some of the other improvements, I would still like to continue to work on our grounds and making them, the green grass is what I want in the summertime, and how to go about doing that. So finding the right people to help me have our grounds be the way that I really want them to be. But one of the things I think I really need to work on, and that is having our numbers where we're able to support our teams and not maybe our just being able, for example, our middle school baseball team this year only had like 8 or 9 kids. That's not quite enough to have a team. So you're borrowing some other kids from other teams. 7th graders are playing with 8th graders, 8th graders are playing with 7th graders, and we need to be able to support both teams moving forward. So being able to maximize the athletes here in our school.
Well, essentially, having that. A bigger middle school, baseball following is going to help that varsity team later on, in the years to come anyway.
Yep.
So, okay. One thing that I had seen is that you're pretty big into community involvement and getting the players to do that. I mean, I've never when I was in high school, when I was in college, like we did. I think more so in college, you helped out the community, whether it was bottle drive, all that kind of thing, or just helping out, freshening up gardens, stuff like that. But at a high school level, I haven't seen that before. Can you talk a little more about how, what you have for the players doing to help out with that community?
A lot of that depends on what the coaches like to do. Okay. So I really in our coaches meetings, I always ask that our coaches do something community based, and that they really reach down to the lower levels of our schools at Swanton, at Highgate, at Sheldon, at Franklin, and get to and introduce the sport that you are coaching, and and go to maybe spend an afternoon with some of those teams. For example, encouraging our baseball team to go to a little league practice or something like that. But for some of the community events, I know our football team did some community events. I do look forward to organizing it this year, a little bit more of that. We had our high school kids help our middle school kids in track and being able to score and record at a track meet. Our athletes are very busy. If they're not on the field, it's certainly off the field. I do know that many of our athletes are National Honor Society. And I do know that many of them are doing community projects, rake in the park. I know that they were picking up garbage on the roadsides and so on. So, these are athletes here at Missisquoi are well known. They're respectable, caring young adults, and it shows by doing some community service.
Great, it's great to hear. I've been to a few MVU games so far this year, and I've seen a lot of fan support as well. What is it about this little niche community that they just come out, and sometimes they don't even have a connection to the team, they just want to be part of it.
Yeah, and I think winning will help, and that will bring the outside community in. but I also know that our parents here support our kids, support our coaches and our programs, and they'll travel to, you know, all ends of the state to go and see their kids play. That's what they do. And it's something that my wife and I did and that group did years ago. It's just expected that that's what you're going to do. And we know that now that my kids have grown up and out of the house, that, you know, we miss it. And I don't have an excuse of, well, I should have done that, but, you know, we did it. And other community members did the same thing. I remember back in, you know, the championship games that those kids played in, you know, having 1,000 people or whatever down at Barry Auditorium for just Missisquoi was just wonderful to watch. So, and they have a big following. Winning, I think, will do that. And that's something that I want to bring back here to Missisquoi.
Great to hear. Do you have a favorite play or a favorite game or a favorite team that just kind of runs in your head every now and then? You're like, you know, I really love that game. I love the way that happened or something.
No, I don't have a favorite game. I just remember, you know, back in 2011 when the boys, you know, their senior year won all 3 championships in both soccer, basketball, and baseball. So that was a pretty special year. Having my son being a senior, having my youngest son being able to be on a couple of those teams, it was just a great experience for anyone who was being here at Missisquoi.
Okay, great. Anything else you'd like to say to Thunderbird Nation out there?
Well, we continue. We'd like to thank you for your wonderful support, and we look forward to making changes here at Missisquoi, and I look forward to the challenge.
All right. That's John Lumsden, Athletic Director for MVU. Thank you very much for joining me.
Perfect. Thank you very much.